Nigeria, Africa's largest democracy, is marking 27 years of uninterrupted democratic governance. It comes at the wake of another election year in an attempt to further consolidate on the country's democracy. But the question is, how has democracy impacted on the lives of the ordinary Nigerian in communities? Social justice and development advocate Dr. Caleb Danladi provides an insight in this excerpt.
Strongly believe that democracy goes beyond voting. It's about participation. It's about accountability, rule of law, protection of rights, and also improving the welfare of citizens. So, since Nigeria returned to democratic rule in 1999, there have been remarkable gains, and despite the persistent challenges that exist. And let's quickly look at some of the gains. And one of the gains have to do with political freedom and also civil liberties. When I talk about political freedom, I mean simply that one of the greatest achievements of democracy is about the freedom to move from one political party to the other without restrictions. Citizens are allowed to join any political party of their choice, which is very important. Let's also look at the media. The media has expanded significantly during the democratic rule compared with what it was during the military rule. So the social media has given the citizens a platform to hold leaders accountable. The social media has given the citizens a platform to be able to express their opinion when it comes to government, which is important. Now, another very, very important aspect that we have to talk about now is the regular and peaceful transfer of power. Since 1999, we have witnessed several democratic transition of powers at federal, at state, and also at local government level, which is important. And if you look at that, there has not been any significant problem when it comes to power transition. The transfer of power from one elected government to the other, has threatened political stability in the country, and it has also given investors confidence, which is very important. Another aspect that we also have to look into, expansion of infrastructure. So, since the return of the democratic rule in 1999, Nigeria has witnessed improvement in roads, infrastructure, telecoms, rail projects, education, infrastructure, which is very important. There has also been reforms in also different sectors like the banking and also the telecoms across the country, which is important. Very important and significant, we also have to look at the growth of democratic institutes. So there are different institutions such as the National Assembly. There has also been growth in those particular institutions, which is important. Now, let's also look at the increase in citizen participation and awareness. Today, Nigerians are more politically aware and actively involved, in governance discussion compared to what it was during the military era. Citizens today, youth groups, civil society organizations, we have different organizations, religious organizations, are increasingly influencing public policy, and also they are demanding for accountability from government, which is important. Now, let's also look at some challenges. So despite these gains, many Nigerians still struggle with poverty. We talk about insecurity issue, inadequate infrastructure in some areas, uneven education between the rural and also the urban areas. We also have some issues of inflation in the country, which are some of the challenges that exist. And insecurity is also very, very important. It's also a challenge now that has become a serious issue in the country today. So these are some of the challenges that persist despite the gains that we had when it comes to democracy. I strongly believe that Nigeria's future today depends largely on the quality of leadership citizens we choose. The quality of leadership is very, very important. And first of all, we have to have leadership with integrity. Character really matters. Nigerians should prioritize who demonstrate honesty, transparency, and also accountability. Another thing has to do with competency and capacity, which is very important. And also we have to look into visionary leaders, people who think beyond just the election cycle. We have to look at the long-term strategies in the country. That is my own opinion. We have to talk about the economic growth. We have to talk about education, infrastructure, security, and technology, which is very important. We also have to look into leaders at all levels who will be able to serve the people, be the public office, and which is very, very important. We also need to look very, very important about leaders who are going to unite people rather than leaders who are going to divide. Nigeria is a very, very diverse nation with different ethnic groups, different religious groups, and also different cultural identity. So it's very, very important for us to have leaders that will be able to unite us in respect of our different cultural identity, who will have a sense of inclusion, who will have a sense of peaceful coexistence, which is very, very important and very, very crucial. Then let's also look at leaders who invest in youth and future generation. As you are aware, Nigeria is blessed with a youthful population of over 60%. More than 60% of Nigerian demography are below the age of 25. So we must prioritize, quality education, job creation, innovation, because Nigerian youths are really hardworking youths. We must prioritize also digital transformation, because the world is a global village, which is also very important. We must also look also into leadership development, developing future leaders from primary school, secondary school level, which is very, very important.